What if I told you that the only thing standing between you and success is your fear of looking stupid? I mean, think about it. Most successful people that you know or admire have failed more times than the average person has even tried. And most people never start working on their goals, not because they don't have the skills, not because they don't have the passion or the talent, but because they're terrified of looking cringe. They're terrified of what other people are gonna say about the stuff that they're doing for themselves. But this cringe, bro, this is the price for authenticity. And if you're not willing to pay it, you'll never know fully who you could have become. What is up, everyone? I hope you're doing well. If you don't know me, my name is Ishaan, and welcome to the video. Today, I want to head into, as someone who's been making content for 5+ years, trying and failing at various different projects in different phases of my life, I want to head into some of my personal experiences and then strategies of overcoming this fear of cringe, because to be honest, I've surpassed that bar at this point. You can go back to some of my videos from like early in the day and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. In 2018, high school me wanted to start creating short videos to spread positivity and motivation, because I was like, oh, this is the kind of stuff that I watch and this is the stuff that I would want to share. But I used to hesitate so much, recording videos over and over again, obsessing over every single word that I was saying, how I was saying it. At the time, I was also very mindful of my accent, because it was something that I was made fun of when I was younger, when I moved to the US. In my head, I was like, oh, what is this person going to think? What is this person going to say? All these doubts, all these fears like creeping in my mind as I'm speaking in the video. Like, I'm speaking to the video, but there's these fears and doubts in my mind. There was this one time I still remember very vividly. I recorded this. It's kind of embarrassing to say out loud now, but I wanted to record this 1-minute video segment that took me 30+ minutes to record. This was in the laundry room of my apartment building in 2018 or something. And that's crazy, bro. Like, a 1-minute video and you're recording for 30 minutes. Like, that's a lot of time. And in hindsight, that was also needed because it was practice. I was just getting started, and I gotta be kind to my younger self. But just wanted to say that experience so you know that I understand what it's like to have these doubts, have these fears, and have that thought of, oh my god, like, this is corny, this is cringe, like, people are gonna say this, my friend's gonna say that. But what finally pushed me to just continue to post was realizing that people who truly matter are gonna support me no matter how cringe I appear on social media or like in a video or something. I accepted that in a few years, the critics or the people who are making fun of me are not even going to be a part of my life anymore. That was a lesson I learned when I transitioned from college to high school, high school to college, because as soon as I entered college, I was so broken off or like away from my high school friends that I recognized that, every phase of your life you're gonna meet people, but chances are that most of them are not gonna be a part of the next phase or next chapter of your life, or in my case they're not, and that's perfectly okay. So don't think about what they're gonna think or what they're gonna say when what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to post is for myself. One of the other key important lessons that I internalized at the time in 2018 was that life is short, bro. Life is it's relatively long, but it's also very short. We're only here for like a few decades or so. That's like, knock on wood, everything is good, you're lucky, but not everyone gets that chance either. So it's a privilege to be experiencing life. It's a privilege to be in this human meat suit, but recognizing that your soul stretches way beyond the material things. And this was This was also when I got my first tattoo on my chest that says Carpe Diem, which is Latin for seize the day, because I just did not want to live on anyone else's terms anymore. I was so tired of it. I was constantly being told what I need to do, how I need to do it to get to the next stage of my life. And slowly, I was just like, yo, like you're telling me this, but this is not what I want to do. So I need to figure out my own thing. And that tattoo was supposed to and is still a reminder every day that I look in the mirror that I'm supposed to live life on my own terms, on my own accord, make decisions based on what I've learned about myself and where I see myself going. After a few years of my inner work, I also understood that criticism specifically often comes from a place of insecurity. People who judge others harshly are usually projecting their own self-doubt. And I know this because that's exactly what I used to do. Like, judging myself, I would judge myself on certain things, certain habits, certain traits that I had, and I would judge others on similar things as well. It's really a cycle. The more you judge yourself, the more you judge others, the more you judge others, the more you start judging yourself. And to stop that, you can start it with either side. You can try to stop judging others, and that cyclical thing is going to work out where you also judge yourself less. Or you can start with judging yourself less, and you'll see that you also judge others less. I also realized that a lot of the things that I judged other people for were low-key things that I had within me that I wanted to change. And life is funny in a way where it does act as a mirror of your internal state. And that was just one of the other side learnings. And of course, you can't control others. You can't control what someone else is going to think. You can't control what kind of hate comments you're going to get on your videos. So judgment, honestly, like, it's bound to be a part of the process. You kind of just have to accept it and embrace it because it's an integral component. It helps you learn resilience. It helps you figure out more things about yourself and how to truly embrace who you are to become. Not become, but to embody your true self. Let the expression really come out. Suppressing your truth is not going to make you feel safer. It's just going to make you smaller. And that internal ache, that internal pain, that internal discomfort, the conflict that you feel, bro, I'm going to tell you right now, that's your potential begging you to be free. That's your inner self yearning for expression. That's exactly how I felt back in 2018. That's when I also started journaling to decipher these inner thoughts and figure out why am I having inner conflict when everything in my life is somewhat in a good shape and set or success. Then I want to turn to the story of 2020. In 2020, I really turned inwards. Most of us did, thanks to COVID. And that's when I finally mustered the courage to launch my first Instagram platform, Ish Motivates. Then in 2021, I also started creating YouTube videos. And in college, I still remember, friends would sometimes tell me how some other people I thought were my friends were talking about my videos behind my back. Which, I'm human. Of course, at the time, it didn't feel good to hear that. It didn't feel good that people I consider my friends are making fun of me, like, behind my back to my other friends. Of course, it made me doubt myself. But the crazy thing is that most of the critics don't even have the balls to say it to your face. They either hide behind the screen, writing comments, or whisper behind your back. And as I internalized this more and more, I realized that the fear of looking stupid is nothing compared to the pain of regret, compared to the fear of not fully living up to my potential. The fear of looking stupid is nothing compared to the fear of never becoming who I was meant to be. I'd rather hear the judgment and criticism than wonder what if I'd gone for it. And I'm so happy about that. I look back and I'm like, dude, I'm so glad I started making videos, even though I didn't know what I was doing, because it built up my skill set. It built up my communication skills, it built up my confidence, and I'm able to talk to the camera for it. We're already 10 minutes in, but this is probably gonna go longer than this. And I can just naturally be me. I don't have to play a character. I don't have to follow a certain set of rules or guidelines of how I need to be or act on camera. And that's not something that every YouTuber or every content creator can say, you know. And I feel fucking proud of that. So I'm gonna let that sink in for a second. But I think that that question of what if is something that's a driving force, a driving factor for many people who end up transforming their lives. As my journey evolved from motivation to developing discipline, then gradually delving into spirituality and raw self-expression videos like these, I started sharing more parts of myself on social media that honestly felt deeply vulnerable. Posting raw thoughts, full journal entries, like, bro, whenever I go through rough times, I turn to social media to be able to express myself, to decipher the learnings that I can get from the lesson or the painful experience that I had. And sometimes it feels like I'm literally standing emotionally naked in front of the camera and in front of the world. Genuinely. And that's so powerful in some ways. It really is. I'm letting you into my mind and my soul, the way I think, the way I perceive, and really just trying to step beyond just the physical and material realm, you know? And every time I chose to be vulnerable on social media, I'd see, dude, people would reach out to me. They would be like, damn, like, I'm so glad that someone talks about this. Or I remember, like, there's a few people specifically that would DM me and say that they're going through a very similar thing and that it's all gonna be okay, etc. And that also creates this bond of community, which you wouldn't be able to get if you're not open, if you're not vulnerable, and if you're not your true self. Like, how are you supposed to find the people that you want in your life if you're not living your life authentically to begin with? And if you want to surround yourself with people who are also pushing past their fears and living fearlessly to live their life in an authentic and meaningful manner, then check out my free community, links in the description. With that said, how do you finally overcome this fear of cringe? It's honestly just doing the inner work to let your authenticity and inner self shine, because you shouldn't be dimming your light just so you can fit in with lower vibrations around you. Nah, bro. You're supposed to express yourself fully so you can raise the vibrations of that collective environment. That's your light. Like, that's part of your purpose. You're not just there to learn and absorb, you're there to teach, and you're there to spread your love and positivity as well. One of the mindset shifts that can help with realizing or overcoming this fear of cringe is understanding that people are too busy worrying about themselves. So accept that judgment that comes in any shape or form is very temporary. Unless family members is a very different situation. That's like a whole other can of worms that we could open up. But people judgments are short-lived, just like our attention spans. Your growth and happiness matters so much more than momentary judgment. So if you've ever held back your voice, your art, your message, your video, just to avoid the sting of judgment, I genuinely see you, because I was you. And here's also what I learned on the other side of it. You gotta reframe the criticism narrative. Most criticism, and this is the part that can definitely be relatable for the family members, Most criticism that you get is rarely about you. It reflects the internal struggles that other people are having. Let your compassion, let your authenticity for their insecurity outweigh your fear of cringe. Show them grace and compassion, either internally within you or externally. Because when you're able to show grace and compassion to someone you hate, someone you despise, someone you feel hurt by, it's such a powerful transformation that happens in your brain and your body. It rewires your neural pathways, and there's a lot of research on this. Like I'm close to source, so if you want you can look it up. But there's this app called Medito, free app for meditations and things. Definitely download, would highly recommend. I used to do this love meditation, or I can't remember the name of it, but the whole premise of the meditation was to sit and spread, or like think about someone that you don't like or you don't want to be around but have to be around, and direct love and care for them, like wish them well. I'm telling you, dude, when you despise someone, when you're hurt by someone, and you do this, it changes you internally, because you're letting go of resentment, you're letting go of negative vibrations, and you're replacing them with positive vibrations, and or like elevated, you're replacing that with elevated emotions which have a higher frequency of vibration. Then naturally you'll attract more of that in your life. That's the law of attraction. That was a side note. The other aspect here is also that you'll have that fear. I still have that fear of looking cringe or being a little weird or coming off weird. I don't know how to say it right now, but that fear or that doubt, like, it doesn't necessarily go away completely, which is why you have to develop it as a muscle to keep taking action despite the fear. I love this quote by Alex Hormozy that you've heard me say numerous times before. Fear is a mile wide and an inch deep. Think about that. Fear is a mile wide and an inch deep. It's not nearly as big as your brain and your mind has made it to be. It's really not that serious, bro. Life, we live every day, but we die once, and after that we don't know what the fuck happens. So live fully, live like you want to, like, be you. Feel the fear, soak in the feelings, soak in that energy, and then use it to take action despite the fear. And like I said, every uncomfortable post, every uncomfortable step you take builds up that courage muscle that you can keep employing to become stronger in this path. Lastly, understand what the true risk is. I know for sure that one day you'll wake up and realize that the risk of being cringe is nothing compared to the pain of regret. Do you really want to live life based off of other people's opinions and expectations? The real risk isn't judgment or embarrassment. It's waking up in 10 years wondering what you could have achieved if you had the courage to show up as your true self. And if this message resonates with your soul, then don't just keep living the same life. Take an action step right after you stop watching this video. Record yourself a video, post the idea that you want to post, speak up in your class or at work. Like, be the version of you that's yearning for expression beneath all that fear. Cringe, it's gonna fade away, but courage, it's gonna compound over time. With that said, let's wrap up the video here, and the key takeaway really is that the inner work will allow you to decipher the fears you have, decipher where they're coming from, and hopefully attack it at the root so you can really just pull it out. And then recognize that we're humans. Fears and doubts are part of our programming too. They're gonna be there. Even if you take some out, there's gonna be another one. It'd be like that. So you have to learn also to be resilient and take action despite that fear. Keep practicing the courage muscles, and each repetition just builds that up. I really hope you got something out of the video, and I want you to think about what's one thing that you've been holding yourself back from because you're afraid of looking cringe. Oh man, what's one thing you've been holding yourself back from because you're afraid of looking cringe? Let me know in the comments below, I'd love to know. And I paused because I started answering the question for myself, and currently I'm gonna just open up. Sometimes it do be hard to open up on the camera too. I recently created a course that compiles literally like 10 plus years of my experiences and things and mindset shifts and habits that have helped me to get to where I am now. And I put all of that together into a streamlined fashion so I can give it to everyone else and to this world. But now that I'm in the last steps, like I just have to finish some of the parts of setting up the website and setting it up. I'm like, I have these doubts in my head. I'm like, oh my god, like who's gonna buy this course? Like why would anyone buy this, etc. Like I have all these thoughts and fears around it. But all I have to do is follow the same exact advice that I've followed the past few years. Build myself up to this point, practice my muscles, and continue to do so through this. You'll probably see a post about that in the next coming few days or something. So we are almost 22 minutes in. I'm so glad that you stuck through the video and made it this far, and if you did, I truly appreciate you and thank you for tuning in. Again, really hope you got something out of the video. Let me know the answer to that question that I asked earlier. What's that one thing that you've been holding yourself back from because of the fear of looking cringe? Because I would love to know. And I will catch you in the next video.